Welcome back to the ABG Investor Days. We now have the pleasure to welcome Håkan Lagerberg, CEO of Swedencare, to the stage. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Håkan Lagerberg, and I'm the CEO of Swedencare. We are a small company in the pet health sector, and we work with different brands. We have one priority brand for us at the moment, at least, is ProDen, an oral care product. Then we have Nutraceuticals, a wide selection of Nutraceuticals, and recently we acquired a company in the US called Stratford. So with also a good, well-known brand, but they also work in the private label sector. We have exports to over 50 countries. We have our own smaller sales offices in 8 different countries, and we have had strong growth the last, let's say, 10 years, and specifically since 2014, when we made a new business plan to be a bit more active. I also joined the company in 2014. In 2016, we went public to Nasdaq First North and have had let's say well-received years there from the stock market, and also we've been growing the company with good profit. We are 62 people all over the world, and we sell products for dogs, cats, and horses. We have one production facility in Ireland, southern part of Ireland, in Waterford, where we produce different nutraceuticals, and we also have some collaborations in the pet food business. Pets have had a strong, the pet market as such has had a strong growth the last 10 to 20 years. More and more pets all over the world, in both cats and dogs, but primarily dogs 10 years ago, and then cats the recent 5 years. And the big difference why people spend more and more money on their pets is that they are really treated as a family member. And of course, family members you want to take good care of. So that has increased the spending of more let's say, exclusive pet food, but also in the line where we are in primarily pet nutraceuticals. Is of course that the better you take care of your dog and cat, the longer they live, and you get lots of age-related problems that you want to take care of. And our main product, ProDen, is in the dental care sector, and specifically for dogs, it's a really big issue to have a product that can help you with the famous dog breath. People live very close with their dogs now and even sleep with them, so really a bad breath gets a bit annoying, and people really look all over the world to find a good product for that, and lucky for us, we have an excellent product. The market as such, Europe and the US are fairly equal when it comes to number of dogs and cats, but the spending is quite different. In the US, they spend an average $1,200 per pet, and in Europe, 600 euros. So it's nearly double, perhaps a bit less now with the weaker dollar. Markets that grows in the world, I would say now with this COVID year, there's been a lack of dogs and cats basically everywhere. So the market is definitely growing this year in all markets. But Asia, primarily China, is a double-digit growth market in number of pets and also spending. So and we try to cover the most important markets. US is definitely our biggest market now after our Stratford acquisition. Europe is really important for us, and Asia has been the growth factor these last 3 to 4 years, but the US is also really strong. Other markets that are interesting but not so strong for us is Russia and Brazil. They are really big pet markets. Company timeline started off early 1990s when a dentist/scientist discovered that a specific algae called Ascophyllum nodosum has an effect on plaque formation and tartar buildup. He met a guy in mid-90s, and they started thinking of business ideas. So they presented a product for humans that in a tablet form that you should take every day and get rid of the plaque formation, and they sold it fairly successfully in the early 2000s. But they went over to producing a product for dogs. It was quite by accident. They just tried it on their own dogs and saw that it had a tremendous effect. And the reason why it has more effect on dogs than humans is very easy. Most humans brush their teeth twice a day, and definitely most dog owners, they don't brush their dog's teeth, even though the veterinarians tells you to do it. But early 2000, even the veterinarians didn't say that much about it then. But they started selling a powder product, going out in the world with exclusive distributors. They found the early ones was a guy in UK, one in France, and one in US. So those were the first markets in the world. And interestingly enough, they still are part of the Swedencare group. At that point of time, they were individual entrepreneurs building up a business. But in early 2016, prior to our IPO, we acquired them. And they are still hanging in there and developing their markets, quite different from early or mid 2000 or 2010. But that's the way our company is set up. We're a bunch of entrepreneurs, very fast-moving company, and really down to every individual of our 62 people. They know what they're doing, and we're very focused in growing the business. When we made the IPO, we did it not that we really needed the money for growing the ProDen PlaqueOff line, but we wanted to widen the offering and also take part of the consolidation in the pet business. And so in 2016, November, we bought the Irish company with the production facility called Nutraceuticals. And after that, we've been growing either by acquisition. Last year, we bought a Greek company, our distributor in Greece. But we have also started up our own sales offices without buying a company, as we did in Spain the last year as well. Let's say a big game changer was this year when we bought Stratford, because it's a fairly big acquisition for us. 2019, they had a turnover of a bit over $7 million. So the US market now will be definitely the biggest market for us. And also they have why they were so interesting for us was their channel into the vet market in the US. The strength of Swedencare, as I said, the pet business has been growing basically all over the world. So most companies, at least if they are fairly well run, have had growth and fairly good results as well, profits. But Swedencare has, outperformed the market in talking about growth, and we also in a high tier of when it comes down to EBITDA and EBIT, because we managed to be very agile. We are very, let's say, focused organization, not much red tape, and we are more, let's say, not specialists. Everyone in the company is working within different areas. We also have very loyal customers. We have products that the pet owners love, so they keep on buying them, and they also recommend it to other people. Now, these last 3-4 years, we've been focusing a lot more than we used to before on marketing, specifically in social media, online campaigns. But still, it's low numbers if we compare with the big players we are competing with. So it's still very much a success story with loyal and happy customers recommending our products. We sell in the veterinary channel, the pet retail channel, and also in some retail chains, more high-end premium chains in some markets. We're also fairly unique in having a global reach. We sell our products, as I said, in 50 countries. It's not that easy to cover all these markets, but we're also, as I said, we're very active in following up and working together with our distributors and customers. So it's really a winning concept that people, our customers, they really appreciate our efforts. We are always fast-moving, getting back with answers if they have any questions. So it's really, we get lots of feedback from our customers out in the world that they enjoy working with us. This a bit more of our lead product or lead brand, ProDen PlaqueOff. It's a powder-based product. Primarily, we have it in 3 different sizes. We have a special cat product. It's a bit more appealing to the cats because they are a bit finicky. It's a 100% natural product from a certain species of algae. We have a certain species or certain way of harvesting it together with our partner. We harvest it in a particular period of time of year. We also have a special way of drying the product, and because I often get questions about the next line is that we have a patent. We have a patent in 30 countries. We sell it in 50 countries. The patent runs out next year, so I often get questions about that. And what I tell them is that our producer, we have an exclusive agreement with them. We have together with them developed a special kind of producing this product. So we know that our product is superior to competitors. We've seen it in markets where we don't have a patent, and that's also important why we do clinicals. Clinicals in the pet sector is not that complicated and costly, but we do it to prove that our product is really good and working. So we keep on doing that for our different kinds of products in this ProDen PlaqueOff series. So now we have a special brand, as you see here, called VOHC, Veterinary Oral Health Council. It's a sign you can use if you have produced 2 different clinicals where it shows a good effect compared to the placebo. And we have it now for the powder product for dogs. We are just wrapping up a study for the cat product. We have it for our dental bites, more of a treat product. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start a clinical with our dental bones that we have launched in several countries now with great success. So we are really trying to appeal to the pet owner, finding a product that suits them to get the ProDen PlaqueOff effect. So we have a powder product, a bit more, let's say, a bit more complicated. You have to give it every day, sprinkle it over the food, compared to giving not complicated, but I would say it's a bit more thrilling to give a nice chew bone to your dog, because they really appreciate that compared to the ordinary food. But still, we try to find different ways of administering, and we have new products with new products to be offered in this line. As I said, we have a wider selection of nutraceuticals for both cats, dogs, and horses, and those are for different problems that a pet can have. And so it's the classical ones, joints and mobility, of course, especially dogs, when they get older, they have problems with their joints. Skin and coat is a big issue as well, and with the Stratford acquisition, we got a whole line of dermatology products, special shampoos and grooming products. That's a really big sector where we haven't been before. Also, different multivitamin supplements and the calming supplements. We have a very, very strong position in the calming products. It could be for fireworks, New Year's Eve, and whenever you have that, you can have it. You can take it when you travel with your pet, etc. With the equine range, we are primarily focusing with the equine range on a couple of markets. It's UK market, it's the German market, and we've launched it in the Nordic market. It will probably be launched in a couple of more markets, but the equine sector is a bit more complicated to get in. What we do have with pet food, we don't have our own pet food, but we have collaborations with currently with 2 brands. We will launch a 3rd one end of this year or early next year. But it's where you have the ProDen PlaqueOff as an active ingredient in the dog food or the cat food. So you get the daily dosage with the administering the normal food. And that's area where we will definitely grow and have lots of contacts. The unfortunate is that those kind of projects take time, but we will launch a couple of more in the coming year. Stratford Care, as I said, very important acquisition for us, changing our setup. It's a company that reaches out to over 10,000 veterinary clinics. And if we look at the US market, that's the one market where we have been a bit different. We have 85% of our sales in the US with the pet specialty retailers and 15% in veterinarian sector. If you compare to Europe, we are basically 50-50. So it's really a good acquisition for us to get the ProDen PlaqueOff brand out to the veterinarians in the US. They have had a strong growth as Swedencare, and we expect them to also improve in their margins. They have a bit lower margins than we, around 20%, but they will pick up now when selling the ProDen PlaqueOff line as well. Sales per region, this first half year, not that much different between 2019 and 20. But going forward, there will be a big difference. You see here that the North America is 29%. That will be a lot higher the coming quarter with the Stratford acquisition. Sales per product, very heavy in the brand ProDen PlaqueOff. 83% of our sales is related to ProDen PlaqueOff this first half year. That will also change, of course, since the product setup in Stratford is without ProDen PlaqueOff. So that will be, I would guess, more 50-60% of the ProDen PlaqueOff next quarter. Highlights, the acquisition, and the effect of COVID. I've got lots of questions about that. We felt it in as early in February in the Chinese market, and then of course in March and April, and a bit going into May. But June was really strong, and as I've said in some other presentations and the half-year report, that the trend is that July and going forward is strong. So we feel that we probably won't have more effects from the COVID-19 not affecting our business in a negative way. Going forward next year and the years to come, there will of course be positive effects due to the increase of number of pets. Online growth, we of course this COVID half year spiked the online growth. So Chewy.com in the US market is our biggest customer. Amazon, which we've recently started collaboration with in Europe, also growing a lot this half year, and we see that it will continue to grow. We had a turnover of nearly 70 million Swedish kronor first half year, with a profit margin of EBIT of 23.4. Would have been a bit higher if we would deduct the cost for the Stratford acquisition, but we have a not that strong growth this half year, but that was a bit set off with the COVID, but we see that the second half year will be a lot stronger. Share price has been strong since our IPO. We were introduced at 14 kronor, never traded under that, and now we're trading around 150. Very strong interest from the institutional sector. So we have institutional owners from Scandinavia, France, Germany, US, and that continues. And I think it's twofold. That the sector, pet health sector, is interesting, and there's not that many companies being listed all over the world. And of course, the most important is that we have performed really well and continue to do so. Prior to us in 2020 is really just accelerating the growth with good EBIT margins. North America, of course, will be a very important market for us going forward. We will increase the marketing. We see that we get good return on building the brand. We hired a new marketing director this year, early this year, and she and her team is really doing a good job, and we're rebranding some of the products and also focusing more how we present ourselves. And if we say different market, China is an important market. It's a bit slower first half year, but that will also come back, and China is still one of the fastest growing markets in the world. And we will look at new, let's say, acquisition possibilities since we now see that there's lots of interest for companies joining Swedencare. We get more and more contacts, more without really looking, and we will evaluate every prospect. But we're kind of picky, so that's why we really haven't done that many acquisitions. But it's possible that it can be others. And we set our targets, 500 million in turnover in 2024 with a 25% EBIT margin. Now we put a new stamp on it to be reviewed. We will be discussing this in the board next quarter. So my guess is that it will be revised.
Thank you for that presentation. So a few questions from me. First of all, you're kind of touching on that in the presentation about the long-term aftermath of COVID-19. Can you go in a bit more detail about that, what you've seen?
I mean, there are basically no adoption dogs that are available now, and also, of course, it takes some time for breeders to speed up to the demand. But I mean, definitely more dogs and cats, and we see that difficult to say already what kind of percentage. But I would say that we were expecting, let's say, a couple of percentage increase, as I would say, in the US and European market, but that I would say that it's definitely will be above 5% next year. I mean, for the market as such.
Yeah.
So it's a strong growth.
That makes sense. So, looking at your production capacity, you were also touching on that in the presentation. So how much capacity do you have today, and how does the Stratford acquisition affect that?
I wouldn't say the production capacity is really it's not an issue for us. It has been with some let's say in the COVID we had to adapt a bit, and some of our partners and also our own production went down to perhaps working 3 days a week, but that is back to normal now. And also for us, with our own production facility, we work one shift, so it's easy for us to ramp up there. And basically all of our partners as well have a lot more capacity. But we have seen specifically in the US market is that we need to be more focused, and also with Stratford having, let's say, big volume sales for some products, is that the lead time is a bit longer. So we have to adapt to that and be more focused on planning with the logistics and the buying of the product. So it's a couple of weeks longer lead time perhaps, but we just have to adapt to that, and we solve it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's talk a bit about M&A. And first of all, I want to touch into a bit more about Stratford. So can you tell us a bit about the backstory there and the synergies that you plan to win out of it?
Absolutely. Yeah. The story is that we really tried to buy them nearly 3 years ago, and we lost to another player. But I kept in contact with the CEO because it really was the acquisition that I thought was the most interesting for Swedencare. When overall we've been looking for over this last 5 years, I would say. And the big reason for that is of course the management team, very good, and but primarily the concept that they have selling to veterinarians is that they offer some way of to some of their customers they offer private label, so that a single veterinary clinic can actually sell a product called Dr. Bob's special formula for joints, for example. And that's the reason for and why veterinarians like that is of course that they don't want to have the competition from Chewy and Amazon with exactly the same product. So it's really a way of handling that a bit. And then also just the competence that they have with large buying groups for these veterinarians. In the US, there are lots of, let's say, independent veterinarians that go together in a, let's say, 50 or 100 clinics that go to, so they join together to be able to buy up, let's say, to better prices, but also for the single clinic not having to look at different products all the time. And Stratford has a very good organization for selling to those kind of customers.
All right, thanks. So the last question from me.
And sorry, I must say also that we were lacking the reach to ProDen PlaqueOff, the ProDen PlaqueOff brand to the veterinarians in the US.
Yeah.
So and they actually made a pre-marketing in Stratford these last weeks, because they have just received the first products, but they have never introduced a product and a product brand and having that much interest as with the ProDen PlaqueOff brand. So I expect a lot from Stratford sales in ProDen PlaqueOff as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. So again, last question from me. So on Friday, you will try to, or you will hold an extra AGM regarding the ability to issue new shares, essentially. So how would you describe the M&A strategy going forward? Is there anything extra interesting?
I would say that, as I said, we have received more interest than in the market, and of course we want to be able to act agile if an opportunity arises. So that's why we want to have this this authority for the board's perspective. But I mean, we're still picky. So what we're looking for is really companies that would fit into our way of working. And if you look at markets, I would say we are primarily looking at targets in the US and Europe.
Thank you. So with that, our time is up, and we thank Håkan for his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.